mirror and are horrified to see this plushy, obese person staring right at you. On closer look, you see that this person has your eyes. In fact, it's even you. You pledge to yourself, today's going to be a different day. I'm not going to eat. I have control over my body. Does this thought process sound extreme? Well, it is, because this is the kind of thinking that goes through someone's mind who has an eating disorder called anorexia. They look into the mirror and they see this obese person when in fact they're probably as thin as a skeleton. After having several people in my life go through this eating disorder, I decided I want to research it and find out a little bit more what's going through their minds. So today I'm going to inform you about what exactly anorexia is, how you can spot signs of it in someone that you know, and how you can help that person once you know that they have this disorder. I'm going to start by telling you what anorexia is. The U.S. Office of Women's Health states that anorexia is an eating disorder and a psychological disorder where a person has intense fear of gaining weight. In the U.S. alone, 1 in 200 American women suffer from anorexia. Another definition given by medical experts Filtho and Lenino define anorexia as an excessive alteration in a person's food consumption, which leads to rigid alterations in their food consumption and eventually a loss of control in the drive to eat. The South Carolina Department of Mental Health states that 95% of young women between the ages of 12 to 25 suffer from anorexia. So it's mostly a disease that consumes young women, but they're not the only ones. There are a few males and a few older women that do suffer from this. A reporter named Nina Funnell of the Sydney Morning Herald stated that anorexia is a disorder that is mainly characterized by the same source. People were once stripped of their control, and so they use anorexia as a way of gaining that self-control back. For example, someone who was sexually assaulted may lean towards anorexia because they can control eating. It's something that they can take control of back in their lives. Another source of anorexia might just be that the person has obsessive compulsive perfectionist. They're always trying to improve their body and they're just never satisfied with the way they look. As an example of trying to get into the head of someone with anorexia, I want you to look at this picture right here. As you can see, this girl is as thin as a skeleton and she's looking at herself in the mirror seeing something completely different. This is just one way you can get into the mind of someone who has anorexia. So now that you have a basic understanding of what exactly anorexia is, you're going to need to know how to spot it in someone that you know if they have it. There are two kinds of signs that you can see in someone who has this disorder. There's the psychological and behavioral way that they can show it, and there's also a physical way that they can show it. A few of the psychological and behavioral signs that you can see are the person will start to withdraw from their social life. They may become irritable and have trouble interacting with people around them. Also, they can have a decrease in their attention and concentration and things that they didn't before. Another main one is that they have obsessive thoughts about food and they start to develop compulsive rituals about surrounding food. A few other signs that you may see that are psychological and behavioral are that the person might start to weigh their food and count their calories. They might take diet pills or take pills that will help them have a bowel movement so that they can shed some extra calories. Another one might be that they overexercise because this is another way of shedding all the extra calories that they don't want in their body. A physical sign that they might show is that they become extremely thin for their height. Another is that they can get dry, flaky skin that starts to take on a yellowish tinge. Another one is that they start to develop an unnatural downy hair growth on their arms and their neck, their back, and even their face. Even though they're getting this excess growth of hair, they might start to lose some on top of their head. But these were all external physical signs, and there's also internal ones that you can't see, but start to develop once someone gets anorexia. For instance, inside their body, they might start to develop a potassium deficiency. They might get a bone density loss, or if it's a woman, she might have a loss of her menstrual cycle. So now that you kind of can see what anorexia looks like and what behavior patterns you might notice in someone, you're going to want to know how you can treat this person. Treatment is very key for someone who has anorexia because this is a deathly disorder. In fact, the South Carolina Department of Mental Health states that 20% of the people who have anorexia suffer from a death prematurely. But the outlook isn't grim because if you do get them treatment, the eatingdisorderclinic.org states that 50 to 60% who do get treated can see a full recovery. When they go to get treatment, they might see a variety of different ways they can be treated. One might be they get hospitalized because a lot of these people come in malnourished and they need to get back to a healthy weight, and under a hospitalized setting they're able to do that. They also might experience a psychological and a hospitalization at the same time to try and tackle the mental and the physical aspects of this disorder. Another one, they might just get psychological treatment and go see a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist might put them through a few therapies like individual therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, group therapy, and family therapy. These therapies are all trying to get at the one root cause, like what is this person trying to control or get control back over, or why this person has such a poor self-perception. So today I've told you what exactly anorexia is, how you can find it in somebody, and what you can do once they have that. And I know that after hearing this, anorexia can sound like a really scary disorder because it's mental and physical, and it can cause death, which is really scary. And it can be overwhelming to know that so many people in the US do suffer from this. I should know because I've had a cousin, I've had a roommate, and I've had a grandma both suffer from this disorder. I wish I could have spotted the signs in them sooner, but hopefully you will not feel that way after I've told you about all of this today.